Welcome to Conversations in Between the Realms, a podcast where the mystical meets the everyday. Join Amanda Nova and Beth Renov each week as we dive into the profound journey of awakening, sharing our experiences, insights, and the lessons that guide us toward our divine purpose. Together, we awaken and guide our souls and others, exploring the magic of living in the 3D while staying connected to the higher realms, embracing the challenges, and celebrating the growth. You've been guided here for a reason. Trust in the journey and let the unfolding begin.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Amanda, and I'm here with Beth, and we're recording on the full moon. It's crazy in here, and we did a wild session with Joshune today. So I don't even know where to begin. What are we talking about now? We already did a long one, and we're cuckoo.
Yeah.
We're cuckoo.
We're going to give you highlights because something is just like really messing with us. But we want to tell you how to protect yourself, how to understand and decipher between truth and I guess falsities, good energy and negative energy, and when to and like really how to trust yourself. And I feel like I'm speaking a million miles a minute,
and if you
so
can
I can fit everything in.
And if you can talk really, really fast, and we're going to teach you how to speak like you're from the East Coast. Okay. So let's go. Okay. And I'm Italian, but I'm going to teach you how to speak New York Jew. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's go.
Let's do this. All right.
Okay. All right. So just kind of cliff note it. Let's talk for a sec. So we had a couple of recordings that went south. The first one was we recorded last week for this week, and while we were recording, there was something that happened to me. We won't tell the full story because, we don't want to go into all the details because of time. But basically, like, it was, I would say, a negative entity. I was sick, so I had a lot of brain fog, and something negative came in, sort of pretended to be Joshune. And by the way, when I asked Joshune, I didn't even mention this last time, but Joshune was like, oh, somebody came in. It was like, hi, I'm Joshune. And like, you like just are like, oh, okay, great. Like, it's Joshune. So, a negative entity came in, and automatically my body went rigid. Beth felt like something negative. She got a feeling in her stomach like something was off. But you didn't want to insult me. You didn't want to, make me feel uncomfortable. You wanted me to be free to be you and me. So you wanted me to be able to allow that to come in. And immediately it made me, uncomfortable. I knew something was wrong. I got up. I felt really, really uncomfortable. I ended up having to get up and pause. And we ended up having to trash that episode. And we did a session today with Joshune where I finally went under, which just always reminds me of Evanescence. I feel like going under. Okay, we don't have time to sing, but one day we'll be able to sing that song to you guys. Okay, Anyway, we finally went under. We were talking to Joshune about it, and it seems like the most important thing for us to teach everyone from this is how to decipher negative entities and just what's real and what's fake. And so that's what we're going to talk about. That was a really long walk for a drink of water, but let's talk about it. So for you, how do you notice when something feels negative?
Well, okay, I'm going to take the instance with you. Like, I felt off. Like, and I don't know if people understand, like, what that means, but it's like something's off. I don't feel normal in my body. My stomach's, like, a little bit off. My chest feels tight. My throat kind of feels, like, closed up. And the energy is just, like, something bad is about to happen.
Yeah.
I often feel like that when I'm not trusting my instincts and I do it anyway. And we talked about this on the last take. But, oftentimes it's that we we have learned and we've been conditioned to not trust ourselves because we want to go with what everybody else is doing. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to be seen in a different way. So we've been programmed to be like, this is how you act, this is what you do. And you totally ignore like the way your body talks to you. And we've talked about this on the podcast before, is really trying to understand yourself by how your body talks to you. What are the sensations? What are the emotions? How do you know that the emotions are talking to you? So positive and negatively.
Right.
And for me, when it's negative, it's a very loud, like scream, like your body doesn't feel right. You're not supposed to do this. But when I ignore it and do it anyway, like that's when something bad
Right.
happens.
Right. And this is also fawning too, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's freeze and it's also fawning. Like, and a lot of us
Mhm.
like are, I think, taught as this trauma response of like, okay, pretending like it's fine anyway, right? And something that we talked about is like this is what a lot of us believe is anxiety. And so we gaslight ourselves because we tell ourselves it's anxiety. And you're just an anxious person, so you just feel like it's anxiety, but really you have a feeling like something is wrong. And I do feel like an issue for a lot of people is deciphering that. And I do think the wires get crossed because I do think sometimes it's the opposite. Like I think sometimes people feel like something bad is going to happen and it doesn't. And I think like it's kind of like really learning the difference, I feel like is key because we're so programmed to ignore our intuition and it's really kind of like getting our signals crossed. And so I think it is in the body. And for me, like I went rigid and and I keep forgetting like what Josh you said. He said stiff board. I think he said stiff board.
Yeah.
Like I was like stiff as a
Yeah.
board. And and I also felt like I was losing my anchor. Like I am there's like always a piece of me here like when I'm in channel. I and I've talked to about it on the podcast before and I've talked to clients about it, like I'm not fully gone, like, and a couple of times in sessions like people like clients will be like, oh, were you listening, like did you get that, like did you hear that, and I'm like, I'm here. Like I
Right.
am not on vacation. I don't care what Bashar or Daralenka said. I don't care. I am not on in Margaritaville. Okay, I'm
Right.
here. I felt like was I don't know where they were taking me, Beth. Like, but I was like gone. That was so scary. And that anxiety was in my body, but I was like also like leaving. And I really feel like, I don't know, like I think just knowing that like, yeah, there's good and there's bad out there like happening right now. And being able to decipher, it's like protecting yourself, but also like learning what's maybe good and what's bad is
Right.
important.
But and that's just like really learning to trust yourself, unlearning the conditioning, and really paying attention to how your body speaks to you, and trusting yourself. But one of the things he talked about also was like giving yourself protection, right? Which we don't do, and we kind of preach but don't follow our own advice.
Yes.
And so yeah, I do this like opening prayer. I try and close, but I never put that edge shield around me, this golden light or whatever it is,
I'm just so mad
and
right now.
judgment.
I just so mad that we're redoing
Why?
this. I could just tell that you're so mad that we're
Yeah.
redoing this. I'm
Well, it's just
sorry.
like the other one was so good. It's not your fault. It's like
I know, but
technology. I don't know what the hell is going on, but it's more that I have like a million things to do
I
and I'm
know.
never this busy.
I know.
But I think it's just that like we don't protect ourselves, and maybe we didn't even protect ourselves for the last
I know.
episode, right? To like go right. So you need to have this protection on you.
Yeah.
And so one thing he said was in the beginning of the day, in the morning, just do it, like open up, allow things in, but make sure you have that shield around you, because it's not just for yourself or strangers or entities coming in. It's for the people in the grocery store. It's for your loved ones. And, even taking a walk around the neighborhood, you're picking up energy like left and right. And you need to protect and say what's mine and what's someone else's.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, we talk about the golden egg, and that I think is like the biggest thing that you can do. So we talked about, doing it in the morning and putting it around you for the day. And putting it around you. And yes, so like the big laugh is like, yes, neither one of us do that. We need to be better about that around
Right.
our family, around everyone in our life. Like, yes,
Right.
100%. Also, doing it before bed, which I never thought about. And Beth asked Josh Yoon, and you've been having really crazy dreams. I've been having disruptive sleep, like, which he called me out on. And like, I just don't like, I don't know, I've just been really bad. Like I've been up and down a lot during my sleep. So putting it on you before bed. So doing like, maybe like, I don't know, like I think about when I was like a little girl and I used to do like nighttime prayers with my dad, and
Mhm.
just doing a little bit of a nighttime ritual and putting that like golden egg of light around you to protect you in your sleep. Because he was saying to us, and we're talking about this session that Beth and I did with Joshun, and this will maybe go live if I could ever figure out how to work my computer
Mhm.
and edit it. It'll go on the light tape so everyone can see it. But doing this shield at night, because you're vulnerable at night.
Right.
Of course.
And
Why not? Why
and
wouldn't you
I
be?
and this just came to me is like it's not only like the people's energy like in real life, like whatever you're consuming before you go to bed too, like
Mhm.
you need protection from that because that energy is going to seep into your dreams,
Yeah, your
and in the dream world.
consciousness. Yeah.
Right. And so the dream world, you are vulnerable. You're not
Mhm.
conscious, you're in the subconscious, you're dreaming. And that's where a lot of work takes place. That's where they can come in and take advantage of that energy and like kind of swoop in. And that kind of connects to also what Josh Yoon said is like when you have foggy brain, which I love his term for brain fog. And he's like, it's it's when like they're trying to kind of, and how I saw it was like they're trying to jam like your what is it
Like your
called, like do this
circuits. Like,
your circuits, yes,
yeah.
thank you. And so it's like they're jamming your circuits, they're clouding things up so that they have this opening to swoop in, make you question yourself, allow
Mhm.
things in you wouldn't normally allow, do things you wouldn't normally do, not listen to yourself. So, it's doing that protection so that even if you have brain fog, like you're protected on some level where it has to go through another filter and maybe it's
Right.
closing up that gap that they can get in.
Right. And I think too, like, it's interesting to me, like, if, clouds in the brain, as he was saying, or like fog rolling in to make you
Hmm.
vulnerable, think
Right.
about it like a fog coming in so that you can't see what's real and what's not real, or you can't see through. So, yeah, of course, negative influences can come in, and it makes sense. It makes you vulnerable. So, yeah, if you are feeling a little bit foggy, like, the day last week that this happened to me, I had posted something on social media for those of you, that do follow me on social media, and were, seeing that the energy was weird, and people were like, I was feeling really high that day. I was feeling like I was tripping, and people were like feeling that. Like, when the energy feels a little bit weird like that, make sure that you have extra protections in place. Be careful what you're consuming, because that is when you are extra vulnerable to having something happen. And the type of thing that we're talking about, and this is not, fear mongering, okay? Because something
No.
that he had said to me, we didn't talk about this when we were doing it, Beth, but like something that he had said to me the other night when I was channeling with him was that he was saying, like, noticing the difference too between real and not real is also the fear and the love. What comes from light and what
Mhm.
comes from dark is also the difference of what comes from fear and what
Mhm.
comes from light and love. Meaning that, like, when you're online and you're seeing all the stuff in the spiritual realm of things, right? Because now I had mentioned this before, but like the algorithm, everybody now is seeing astrology stuff. And now, once you start getting into this realm of things, you're seeing all of it, right? Okay. So, noticing the difference of like if you're looking at something and it starts to make you feel scared, and you start to look at it, and Beth and I had sent something to Beth, and the person was talking about something like that was really scary. Like the girl was like, I was having this vision and planes were falling from the sky. You know what I'm talking about. And
Yes,
she was
yes.
like, I'm having this vision and I have to tell you guys, oh my goodness, all these planes were falling from the sky and you need to go out and you need to buy toilet paper. You need to buy water and all this stuff. No.
Right.
And he was telling me, Niana, pay attention to what makes you afraid, or what makes you feel like it's coming from a place of light and love. And so noticing, and so that's just something that just came to me now, again, noticing like, okay, what is coming from light and love as a message, right? So what they are getting you with is like using fear versus like
Right.
light. Do you know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And how it makes you feel
Mm-hmm.
is also like I saw that, I'm like, that's icky. And like attracts like. Energy on that level is going to attract that energy, so they're trying to extract that out of you. And if you start to feel that and you notice it's not like, this doesn't feel good for me, like how is this helping me?
Exactly.
And that's where you have to decipher and be like, I don't need to consume this. I don't need to store this in my brain. I don't need to live out this truth. Right. And if we're talking about timelines, we don't need to be on that timeline. Maybe that's the timeline she's on and that's what she's attracting, and her telling everybody everything I say comes true. Unfortunately, it's like, yeah, okay. Maybe because that's also what you're calling in, and
Right.
I notice when I'm in a better headspace, when I'm not consuming the fear mongering, when I'm staying in this really light place, I attract more good things and I feel better. So it's
Right.
really, there is a sense of control over that because
Mm-hmm.
you're trusting. I'm not gonna like internalize that at all.
Right.
I am gonna leave that to her. She can live in that realm. I'm gonna live in this realm where I am not going to take every fearmonger because it also gets likes. It's also, and that's the darkness too, is like someone doing it to get attention.
Right. Right. And I just got like a twinge in my gut because one of the last things
Was it a niggle?
I got a niggle in my gut. Okay. I can't believe that we are re-filming this and you brought that word on here. You had a chance to not record that word. Oh,
I'm sorry, it had to come up again.
that word. But I just got like a twinge in my gut of like, I just remembered the last thing
Mm-hmm.
that Josh Yoon said about the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, oh, what's bothering me, what is like deeply bothering me in my heart so much about like social media and all this stuff is about how people have the stage, or he was saying have the mic. I have to
Yeah.
process, I haven't processed it, but he was saying like to Beth that something that really deeply bothers me is that people who do that, who have like fear mongering, who like are not like, I guess, coming from the light, have like eyes on them, and that it like deeply bothers me. And I think Beth already knows this, that this is like something that really bothers
Yeah.
me. And he was saying, but like, look at who's like looking at their stuff, is basically
Right.
what he was
Yeah,
saying.
like attracts like,
Yeah.
and also what he said was, if people can decipher between truth and not truth, then they're not going to listen to it. And
Mm-hmm.
the people who do, maybe that's their audience, right? And we said that about
Yeah.
someone else too. And
Yeah.
it's like, it doesn't matter what someone else has, like, because maybe they're going to be successful. And maybe this was another client I was talking to. I don't remember if it was with you or like a
Oh.
client, but it was like
No,
they
it was
were.
me. It was somebody.
What was it?
Yeah,
You?
it was me.
Okay.
No, I know
Yeah.
exactly what
Okay.
we were talking about. We're not going to reveal
Yeah.
because it was a private
No.
conversation, but it was something we were talking about. I
Right.
was upset about something because,
Right.
yes, because it bothers me on a deep level, because something that I am very much, this is, I don't want to sway this, but this is because I very much am a truth seeker and
Yeah.
authenticity to the core is like a very, very deep thing with me. And Beth like knows this. And so like when I see people who have the stage is as he referred to it as, which I think is so funny, it and they are not authentic, it deeply upsets me. And so that's why a lot of this has been with Joshua, and all of this has been so hard for me. I want everyone to understand this being real or not real has been very, very challenging for me, because I want like this is real, because I could not have, if it wasn't real, like they would have killed me. Do you know what I mean? Like this, I am very deep into like authenticity. So this like understanding that like there are a lot of people out there who are spreading things that are not authentic. So what we are telling you, and what we are trying to teach you and show you, is that like when you are seeing these things that are external, what will be real or not real will be how you receive it, right? Because things will be true for you and not true for maybe somebody else, right? And so how you will receive that will be in your body and your experience and where you are on this path as well.
Totally. Totally. And I think also we're here to offset that. You know, it's not like everybody only has the option of listening to them. People have the option of listening to us. And again, like attracts like. If people are in the light and they want to do this in the most authentic way, we're probably going to attract those people. We're not going to attract the people who want to go to someone who's fear mongering or just isn't coming from a place of authenticity and is doing it for clout, is doing it for likes, and instead of really wanting to help change people and get them to their purpose, to get them to live the most out of this life here and really spread the light and have this domino effect.
Sure.
You know, so it's like we kind of have to not get caught up in that, and that is part of the darkness of them like bringing in these negative feelings like jealousy and real irritability and frustration with things that we don't have control over.
Yeah.
The way we can control it is put out this light, you
Yeah.
know? And speaking of light, I really want to bring this up because I thought this was one of the most fascinating things that Joshua said, was that we were talking about Amanda's soul origin and my soul origin, and he talks about how Amanda kept bringing up the Elohim, either in channeling. I don't remember where you came across it, but it's these 7 rays of light. And that's how there was creation. It's the similar frequency to the planets. That's why you kept getting the message, I'm a planet, and that I'm a planet. And that our soulmates are people who are in those rays. So in one of those 7 rays, that's why they're so familiar. They're your people. And that is the energy you want to call in and be around.
Yeah.
And doing the protection helps you to have this like radar to beam them in and have this magnetism.
Yeah.
You know, so that is the hope. That is where we are going to protect ourselves so that we can call that in and we can block out the noise. We can block out the darkness. We can block out the negativity. Not that you will never feel negative again. You're not going to allow it to take over. You're not going to allow fear to take over. And that was something we said about you. Like you had every opportunity to let fear take over in the past few months and you haven't.
Yeah.
And you said you were angry. You know, but
Yeah.
anger is also comes from a place of fear sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and so you utilize that anger in such a healthy way. And I like really applaud you for your resilience, for you going back, for you facing this head on. And it's also to point out it's not that you're never going to have scary moments again or fear. It's just how you handle it is the process of growth and up leveling and getting to the next phase so that you can zoom out and see that we're all from source. We're all from this big place. How do I want to utilize that? How do I want to understand myself
Yeah.
so that I can live out the best life I can?
Yeah. Yeah. And doing this, everyone that's listening, you know, that is my why. And you know, and having the tools to protect. And yeah, I'm pissed. And I think, you know, I feel really violated that this happened. And, you know, I feel violated by a lot of it. And I feel violated by what I learned with Joshua when we went under. But I also feel empowered. I feel
Mm-hmm.
empowered by my ability to sniff it out and to stand in my sovereignty, in my ability to trust myself, to be able to stand in it and be able to, to be here through all of that. And, there are tools. So I think, just, having the light around you. One of the other things I just wanted to say, because we had mentioned this before, and again, this is not a plug on myself, but I do want to mention the gemstones,
Right.
because I
Yeah.
do think that, and herbs and things like that, that you can
Mm-hmm.
wear protection to help yourself. Like, one of the things that Josh Yoon had told me and told Beth is that you can put codes into your jewelry. And another thing he didn't say, but I've learned this through working with some of my clients, you can put codes into your clothing. So you can put codes of protection into your jewelry, into your clothing. So you can protect yourself not only with your energy, but with the things that you wear. So if you have like something with gemstones, or you have something with materials like cotton comes to mind, that's just coming in
Mm-hmm.
channeled. I don't know why, but like cotton, like material that is like, cotton that's like really like made from the earth. Um, you can put codes into that to protect you. So wear things that you feel connected to and put your prayers into them. Same thing with your food, same thing with the water. Put your
Right.
codes into them to protect you. And he had said that to Beth about putting codes into. So she has a piece from me that has gemstones in it, and she has pieces that are not from me that she wears, that you can cleanse your pieces, of course, and you can buy stuff that has codes already put into it, but put your own energy into the stuff that you wear and
Right.
wear it as
Right.
protection.
And you can sage it. You can sage your area, like you were talking. I don't know if you said it here, but like really clear the energy of the space. Like sage it, spray it. Also, just to your point, colors that you wear, like whether
Yeah.
it's jewelry, whether it's clothing, whether it's makeup. Like you
Mm,
can do that to protect. And like one of the things from like Bethor and the Olympians is like you're supposed to wear blue to call him in, so him, whatever it is, they don't have sex, but gender, whatever it is.
I mean, they
But you
might
can,
have sex.
yeah, right. They might have sex. But and I remember one of this people I was listening to who does Kundalini and breath work. She wears all white, and they're talking about white spaces being really healing. So it's it's really just like putting codes into like the color you're wearing. So there are all these ways to protect yourself. Um, but I think the most important thing too is to really try to understand yourself, how your body's talking to you. Um, Really like on this journey, deciphering what are the things that are going to help me to understand my purpose here and why what I can do and be the most authentic version of myself here. So and some of the trust is, where do I go on my path? We had talked about star seeds and how that can be a really good and validating way to feel seen and understood on the beginning of your journey, and how if you open up, you can see that it's just part of the journey, and how all these little tools like cards, tarot cards, oracle cards, using a pendulum, whatever it is, like don't judge it. This is where you are in your journey. It's helping you to understand yourself. And eventually you might not need them, but it doesn't mean it didn't matter.
Right.
These are all, and like appreciate the process of you understanding yourself so you can decipher that truth and not truth, if this is right for me, and how to respond to things, and really get yourself on that path to authenticity.
Right. And that's the point of all of this. This is really the in between. And that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this, because we've been through it all and we are still on the journey. And so if you need support, reach out, come do our mentorship, do an oracle reading with Beth, or come get an activation, or work with both of us together and really have that like
Mhm.
power of two or three with you, whoever you are.
Yeah.
My God, guys, it's getting weird. It's a full moon. And yeah, we will catch you next time. Thanks for listening.